All right. You want to talk about From Russia with Love?
I do. I would love to. From Russia.
This is Rekindling Our Bonds, a James Bond movie watch podcast where my old friend from high school, Daniel, and I rekindle the bonds of our friendship by watching each of the James Bond movies in chronological order and discussing them at great length. Hope you enjoy.
You just watched it today?
I did. I started
Nice.
it yesterday. I got about 10 to 12 minutes in, and
Okay.
then some other stuff came up, so got up early. I finished it today, and then had other stuff to do, but I wanted to talk about it with you as soon as possible.
Nice. Yeah. I think I watched it, I don't know, it was a while ago, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. But it's not my first time.
Yeah.
I gotta let David in. Hold on a sec.
Okay.
There you go. Okay. Well,
Is
cool.
David an animal or a roommate?
David's an animal and a
Okay.
roommate.
Okay. Yeah, true.
He's a Rottweiler Doberman.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, big boy. Um,
Uh,
so yeah, I watched it a little while ago in my hotel room in Bend, and it was really nice. I always like watching a Bond movie in a hotel room. Uh,
that makes sense. Do you always check
yeah.
your hotel room for bugs?
Well, it's funny that you say that, because I am in pest control and I do check for bugs, but not that kind of bug. I've
Uh,
kind of stopped a little bit because it's like it's either gonna happen or it's not.
you're
You
gonna
know,
get your nards eaten by bugs?
if it's bed bugs, I'll at least get some money out of it. I'll sell them on
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
But
that's right. It's a good
so let's
scheme.
see. Yeah, exactly. Well, it's like I'm already freaking set up by that time.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know. I'll check if I feel like this room is especially crusty. But usually I'm not checking now. But yeah, sometimes you just know too much. And even nice freaking hotels will have bed bugs. Yuck. But yeah, I do appreciate the hotel check, which actually I think happens in this movie as well. Uh,
Yes.
it had been a
Yes,
really
it
long
does.
time since I saw this one. I think I was in Colorado like maybe like 5, 10 years ago. And I
Whoa.
watched it with my uncle, who is the guy who was like the first person I knew who was into James Bond stuff. Um, but I think I fell asleep then.
Well,
Yeah. What were your
sh-
impressions of it this time?
well, to start, it's so tonally different.
Yeah.
It has such a different tone, and that's probably not just because of the difference in venue. I mean, going from the Caribbean to uh, throughout Europe was really interesting.
Yeah.
Um,
That was the biggest difference I felt too. It's like going from a super colorful, like just kind of fantastical movie to brown and gray, um, like espionage movie.
not to preface my true feelings too far in advance, but I think I adored it at first,
Uh
and
huh.
then I think my appreciation slowly trickled away as it progressed. So the first
Hmm.
12 minutes, I was so in. I was so stoked. I was so interested. There's just so much interesting stuff to look at, and it all felt vaguely different. Like, um, to start that cold open with the cat and mouse chase between Robert Shaw and Sean Connery
Yeah.
in the hedge labyrinth at night, and
Hmm.
then you just think, oh, okay, it just starts on another James Bond mission, right? It just cuts straight to him in action, and then they're peeking around the corner. You don't know, okay, did he just catch a glimpse at the other person? And then you see the Robert Shaw Grant character slowly uh, creep out from the darkness, and essentially he grabs James Bond with his watch choke chain and just chokes him, and you're like, oh, how's he gonna get out of this? And he's just dead. And then all the lights come on, and those soldiers run out, and that I forgot, was it Kleb who walks out?
I think Kleb is there, or maybe Kronstein. Oh man,
You
can't
know,
remember.
s-
But I would bet
I
on Kleb.
I think it was Kleb. Or maybe it was, maybe it was just somebody completely different. Because so they walk out, and they're just like, yeah, good training mission or whatever.
That's pretty much how it would go.
Yeah, and then they bend down and peel off the Sean Connery face mask, revealing just some nameless stooge who had been choked to death for training. And the sound it makes when the mask
Yep,
comes off, it's like it's
that's
like
so funny.
so loud. I mean, I was when I first started watching it, I was on my big screen with my sweet sound system, and I was really, really engrossed. But today, I watched it on my smaller screen with my headphones. Um, but I don't think it changed the enjoyment. Um, and then that's the cold open, and then it goes into the credits, and it's belly dancing, and
Yep.
it's like at first I was baffled until later on in the movie it made more sense. But I am a sucker for interesting font work, um,
Uh-huh. Nice.
and like colorful font work, especially when it is like a practical effect somehow in the scene, and they're just using like uh projected font writing, projecting the credits onto the belly dancers' bodies, which I thought was really cool. I thought it was really fun to look at.
It's really simple, but yeah, it looks really
It's
nice.
so simple. It's so
Yeah.
simple, but it's elegant. Um, yeah, so I was just in the process of ripping through my impressions of the first 12 minutes, but should I slow down a little bit?
No, that's awesome. I'm really glad you got into the little like trick opening thing. Um,
Um, and
the
then
mhm.
please, sorry.
Oh yeah. Well, I love the beginning too. I think it's really good. Uh, I think it's funny that you said the first 12 minutes. So I've been trying to watch, or I watched this last one like a little bit more aware of what like mentality you're coming at this with, or what your perspective on it, and
Hmm.
tried to think of it as like my first time watching them through,
Yeah.
and like what I got out of them. It's been a while since I watched them for the first time, and it was kind of the box sets that I got were like random. It'd be like a smattering of them, which I kind of liked,
Oh,
you know. You get
yeah.
like a Sean Connery, two Roger Moore, a Timothy Dalton, whatever. Like you get a good mix each time, but
Yeah.
like you kind of are watching them out of order a little bit.
Yeah.
And my main, I mean, to say my opinion a little bit, but my main takeaway the first time was like, oh, that was like really tamed down and very brown. But like kind of a more serious like spy movie.
Mhm.
Um, this time, it's funny that you said the first 12 minutes because I feel like that's the best part. You
Oh, yeah.
get the beginning and the end are really good. I think
Yes.
the all the stuff with Spectre basically. So
Mhm.
you get that part, you get the opening credits, which doesn't use the theme song, which is interesting. They're just not quite there yet, and it's a singer who's not quite somebody. They just like found him in a bar.
Oh, cool.
Um, but then that next little bit with the chess game and Kronstein, which is that guy's name, the
Yes.
that part is so cool.
Number
Oh my
5.
god.
I wrote down for that big ridiculous chessboard on wall so that the crowd can see the moves. I love how it looks. I love it. It's so
Yeah,
graphical. It's
that's
so
awesome.
neat.
I
And
think this
then
is Ken Adam again, and his production design is just like so like over the top and awesome.
my next note was so far love the visuals. At that point, everything was so distinct already, and it was so interesting. And the visuals, the chessboard floor of that, like so we come upon Kronstein, number 5, playing chess against some other grandmaster chess player, and they're uh, the Kronstein's opponent takes their move, and then as Kronstein is considering the board, he takes a drink, and with on the bottom of the drink is a note that says, uh, "Come as soon as you can," or something to that effect. And so
Yeah.
then Kronstein just considers the board a little more, makes one more move, and suddenly it was checkmate. And so it just beats him immediately. So I was only left with after thinking about it a little bit, I realized, oh, the reason why that guy could just smoke him immediately as soon as it was time to go is because he was toying with him. He was so
Yeah.
smart that he was just toying with his opponent the entire time. And then when it was time to end it,
Yeah.
he's just like, okay, fool, done. And then he walked out.
Yeah, it's like, oh, well, I guess I got something I have to do now. So let's end this thing.
For some
That's so
reason,
cool.
not knowing Kronstein, not knowing the context of it, I just assumed that he was going to move very purposely make a wrong move just so that he was the one who would lose, and then he
Yeah.
would. And I thought, okay, clearly to this person, whether good or bad, I didn't know at that point. Um, the chess game doesn't matter. Reporting to his boss is what really matters. But the fact that he just like ends the match by smoking that guy on one move was really exciting. It sets the stakes on this guy. Like, oh, this guy is super smart, super strategic. As soon as you realize, oh, he's coming for James Bond, s- that was extremely exciting and interesting because this is a high level foe that James Bond has to deal with. And unlike Dr. No, this just popped in my head. You are set up with at least 4 adversaries within the first 10 minutes that James Bond has to deal with, as opposed to only introducing the main bad guy 50 minutes in, an hour into the movie like they did
Yeah.
in Doctor No.
That's a really good point. And they like everybody seems formidable. You know, they have
Yes,
like
yes.
Kleb is punching oh my god, what's his name? Red
Grant.
Grant. But what's the Quint? Yeah, exactly. Punching him in the stomach, you're like, okay, this guy's pretty tough. And then
So
she
stupid. I loved it.
I loved it too. What do you mean
Sh
stupid?
she's, like, walking behind just
Oh yeah, she like tricks him into it or whatever.
she walks him behind, and she, like, could barely get her brass knuckles over her leather gloves, and then she just sucker punches him in the belly, and that's her test. She's like, "Okay, this guy's tough." He
It is funny. It's one yeah, and she's like, that's it. That's all I needed to know.
Exactly, this guy could kill James Bond. I sucker punched him in the stomach with brass knuckles, and he didn't flinch. Uh,
How
but
far in was it before you knew who that was? Did you recognize him right away?
Robert Shaw,
Yeah.
uh, the train.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I knew
That's
it was
awesome.
like there's something about his face that was, like, killing me, and then I had what was I doing? Oh, honestly, I was looking at the box to figure out who Tatiana was, and then I saw Robert Shaw's name. It's like, whoa, 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 Robert Shaw. And then I had to go through all the characters in my head, like who could it possibly? And it just made sense that it was Grant. It was
That's so
awesome.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
that's
so
cool.
good.
Yeah, I like him a lot. I think there's some good characters in here that are like, it's like they're not quite. I don't know. I don't know how to put it. Like they stick out to me, but they just kind of like disappear a little bit into. I'm not sure how to put it. Even it's very like '60s. Oh man, my thoughts just went right out the window. But you know, there's Kronstein. There's who disappears right off the bat, but he really sticks with me. There's so many good characters basically that they don't ever revisit in the movies, like these ideas. Like
Yeah.
I love the idea of like, oh, a chess master is part of Spectre. Of course,
Hmm.
they've got
Hmm.
just the best and brightest in the world in all fields. You know, like I that's so cool. Kleb,
Yeah.
they kind of revisit a little bit, but not really in like similar character types. And then
Yeah.
Red Grant, they revisit a ton. There's always a big blonde guy who's really tough.
His
But
name is Red Grant.
yeah,
Cool.
in the book, I think he's kind of like a werewolf. He gets the moon when the moon is full. He has to kill. His
Are you
blood
for
rises.
real?
Yeah,
That's actually kind of cool.
I think I mean that's the whole thing is like everything's kind of cheesy, kind of pulpy, but then they
Yes.
treat it really seriously, and it's like okay, cool, I'm in. He's kind of a werewolf. Sweet, that's
And
weird.
s and you know what? That's why I think that's why the beginning and the end are so effective. We could keep going in a linear order, but you just said it. It's treated with such a pulpy appreciation. Like it's so pulpy that once it gets a little self-serious into the Yojimbo Cold War Spectre playing the two government bodies or multiple government bodies against each other, it it kind of loses some of that fun. It's not as fun.
Oh, Yojimbo. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah. I mean, I like that's a cool thing that Spectre, like a gap that Spectre fills, is
Yeah.
it's not, we're not saying that this country's bad guys, or we're not against this country every time. We're against this weird entity that's like kind of bringing everybody down. But I barely like picked up on that this viewing for some reason. It was like,
What
I mean, I guess it is the train where he like kind of reveals all of it, and that feels pretty far in, you know.
Yeah, I
But
was barely hanging on to the motivations until, again, we're jumping to the end a little bit, until the exposition info dump that Robert Shaw
he
gives.
just keeps talking and talking.
He just keeps, yeah, I would like to touch back on that, but I have
Okay.
to ask you
Yeah, the
something.
train sequence in general. Yeah. Yeah.
I So after we are introduced to Kronstein, who later referred to as number
Excuse me.
5,
Mhm.
um, we get the shot, man. We get the shot. We get the disembodied hands with a piece of a large ring petting a white docile
Oh
cat.
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
It's
Mhm.
it's like such an iconic shot and it has been done to death. Was this where it's from? Is this the
I mean,
origin
I
of that idea?
there might be like a bad guy with like a pet or something, but this is like the white cat for sure. Uh,
Oh, I
yeah,
I was
both
I
like
I almost like cheered. It's like that's it.
it is crazy how much they figured out by like the second movie of like, hey, this Spectre thing is kind of like where it's at, you know? Like this is his like supervillain superhero world. Uh, and then I kind of get the flow that they're going for. Like introduce that Spectre stuff. Here's just like a mission that they're working on, and I like the mission where I like part of the mission. I don't like that they're like, we're out to embarrass James Bond. That's our plan, you know.
Is that what it
Uh,
was? Is that what that is?
or they're like, we're gonna embarrass the English. That's kind of their thing, I think.
That's
Or maybe I'm
that's
mixing
what
the book in a little bit. The
that's what
whole plot of
Doctor
the book is embarrass James Bond. Yeah, Doctor No is trying to embarrass them as well.
what is man, the English are really big on not being embarrassed.
It's so true. That's so funny. I'm thinking of a couple more plots that are as well.
It's just like
And we will do it not for destruction, but to embarrass you.
oh, you will open the door and you will get water sprayed on your crotchal area and people will think you pee-peed. Ho,
Oh
ho,
man,
ho, ho. He-
frickin'
uh,
Spectre, dude.
so, freaking Spectre indeed, walking through the training compound, and
Yep,
you
that's so
see
cool.
shirtless dudes blasting machine guns at dummies. You see hairy, portly, shirtless men knife fighting. And you see like one I don't know, one training routine is a dude just cracking shots with a flamethrower, and it's like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then you just see other dudes in the background like dodging the flamethrower, like running across, like, okay, you're on flamethrower duty. Try and kill your friends.
We're training to be really good at the flamethrower and be really good at dodging the flamethrower. Jeez.
Oh man.
It reminds me of that scene in Wayne's World where he opens the door to all the ninjas training.
Oh yes, yes.
So
And was that a direct reference to this, or is that a direct reference to every Bond movie that has done this?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's Bond in general or if it is like kung fu movies or, but this definitely like had that feeling, right? Walking through that
Yeah.
area.
Um, definitely.
Yeah.
Uh,
Um, so
let's see.
their main like plan, right? They're gonna get Tatiana to pretend like she's gonna defect, and she's gonna lure Bond in with the Spectre or the Lecter machine, which is like what movie is that has that as well? Not Hunt for October, but U571 or something.
The
Um,
Silence of the Lambs.
yeah,
Hannibal Lecter.
yeah. No, you're right.
Killing Machine.
Um, yeah. Um, but I like that plot. I like that idea, and
But
I
she doesn't know. She doesn't know that Kleb her
Right. She thinks
boss
she's doing it
is
for
a
her country.
representative of Spectre, right?
Yeah.
And then, okay, please continue. This is me also trying to absorb the plot.
Yeah. Okay, so Caleb convinces her to do it for her country and asks her some like provocative questions and
And
touches
then,
her leg,
yeah, and
which
then
is
wants
interesting.
to kiss her,
Uh-huh.
wants her bad.
Which is interesting.
Hmm.
Um, this movie is from 1963, and I think that just like knowing that makes everything a little bit more exciting, you know? Some of the stuff they're doing.
Yeah, you say exciting.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking
Um,
about.
but I mean, you know, they're like pushing boundaries a little bit.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
and it happens to be with the bad guy, but it's still interesting.
Oh,
Um,
I kind of see what that might mean. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think in the book, I think it's more clear that Rosa Klebb is gay, and she does like Tatiana. Um, and in the movie, I think they get away with like kind of alluding to that, you know?
Oh,
He definitely is
absolutely.
like
Yeah.
touching her and stuff.
She's like
Um,
grazing her leg, grazing her
yeah,
cheek, and then there's like definitely goo goo eyes happening. And
yeah,
Tatiana is not reciprocating.
it's true. Um, but she decides to go with it, and then I love this whole part where Bond sees the picture of her and hears the story, and they're both like, uh, "It's too good to be true. It's obviously a trap, but like, obviously, we still have to go for it." Uh, I think that part's really interesting too,
Do you think
and
there is an initial attraction between them just seeing one another's pictures that makes them want to go for it?
I want to think so. Uh,
Yeah.
I think every James Bond movie, most of them try to, but I think everyone should be romantic in some way. Like, you know, it should be like a date movie to me. Like there's big
Yeah.
stuff exploding, espionage, but then a really sweet like love story in the middle. I think is really nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm into that. I have found through the years I'm drawn to stories, to movies that where there's just this almost instantaneous and unshakable romantic bond between some protagonists. Um,
Yeah, I feel like it
al-
still
al-
has to earn it a little bit, but yeah, I agree.
it does, but just
Where it's like you and me against all of this stuff going on.
yes,
Yeah,
and
it's great.
you as an audience member can trust it, can
Yeah,
trust that it's pure, and that just makes it really like sweet, I guess.
that said, I like Tatiana, and I think she's cute.
Oh
She's
yeah,
really weird.
oh yeah. I love
Their
when
relationship's really strange.
she does hair mustache.
Uh-huh.
'Cause-
I thought that was cute.
yeah,
Like kind
me
of playing
too. 'Cause
around in the train car.
Kylie does that all the time, and
Funny.
she did it, and I was like, what the?
Yeah, you like
So
Tatiana?
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, yes,
I think she's super cute. This
I do
time my
too.
takeaway was like she has some really strange things to say. They wrote
She's
her very
pretty
weird.
she's pretty
I think
naked at one point.
yeah, that's true. And it's not a bad time.
No, you can't see much, but you can see plenty, and it's like cool.
Yeah, it is interesting. Like a lot of these movies have just the intros get more and more elaborate and the opening credits get more and more elaborate and honestly like that is one of the main things I look for in a new Bond movie is like what are they going to do for the opening? What are they going to do for their opening credits? Because it's they're the only ones that are doing what they're doing to me at
Yeah,
least. Mission Impossible a little bit, but Bond has
Mission
sort of like a
Impossible. Yeah, that's a good
different feel to
comparison.
it.
Oh, for sure.
Um,
Yes. Uh,
but what was I even going to say? I don't remember. But
while you're thinking, so
yeah,
the first time we see the real James Bond, he's macking on Sylvia. Is this the
yeah, good
Sylvia from
catch.
Doctor No?
Yeah,
Okay, and she does mention, hey, the last time you said we're gonna get together, you went to the Caribbean, to Jamaica for 6 months,
yeah.
or for a while, and then she said that was 6 months, and she hasn't seen him for 6 months. So is this only 6 months after the events of Doctor No?
I guess so. That makes sense to
Interesting.
me.
He asks her to toss him his shirt, and she's just like, "Ah," and it almost just, like, goes straight into the ground, but he had to bend and catch it really quick. It was just a funny shirt toss.
Yeah. I like that scene. I have a theory that now does not hold up after watching this, but uh Bonds, the actors usually look their best in the second movie. Like they have it figured out, they're confident, and then whatever costume designer has figured out their proportions or whatever it is, they have like the opportunity to look their best, you know? And I was like, okay, well, what's the best Sean Connery looks in this movie? I think it's just that opening part where he's hanging out on the boat. And I was like, what's the worst that he looks? And it might just be when he's putting his shirt on. He looks so stupid right there. And I was like, oh, both of them are in the beginning of the movie.
I kind of like when he's on the train putting his clothes back on after he was lounging with Tatiana, and you see, I don't know why, there's just the way that his shoulder holster, the lines uh, cut across his back, is just for some reason that caught my eye. It was like really striking angles, and I just thought that was looked really cool as he was slipping his jacket over it. I don't know why.
That's cool. That's cool. I mean, that's one of the things I like about James Bond as a hero. Excuse me. Is he's in a suit and he's got a gun under his freaking armpit, and there's just something so like fucking classy and cool.
Yeah,
And his gun is the Walther, which is very small and has small gun issues. You got to be close, and it's like this precision thing of like I am a professional. I'm dressed nice. I have to get close and be like very specific with what I'm doing, and that's how I'm going to solve this problem. I think that's super thrilling and interesting.
for a super spy, this dude lets his guard down a lot.
Yeah, he's not very good in this. In From Russia with
No,
Love, he's all over the
no.
place.
There's so
Yeah,
many moments where I think, "Oh, dude, he's on it. He's so cool." And then I think, "Oh, I'm not a spy. I've only watched spy movies and shows every occasionally." But even then, there's moments where I think, "What are you doing? W
yeah,
Keep your gun with you. Keep your gear with you. Don't just walk into this other room. What are you doing?" I don't know.
yeah.
There's
I think the beginning is really great. The setup is really great, and then the locations are cool. I guess. I mean, Istanbul's cool.
yeah,
I guess Eastern Europe is cool. Everything just looks very, very similar. A lot of brown, stone, and wood. Even the
yeah.
gypsy camp is very brown.
Yes. That's
There's
that's a fair
gypsies in
point.
this movie. Um,
You you were really big on the color of Doctor No, and I agree with you, especially now in comparison.
yeah. Uh,
Is this our
yeah.
first time getting Q Branch?
Uh, yeah. Did they go to Q Branch fully?
Q Branch shows up and gives
Gives
Bond
him the
the
suitcase.
puzzle box. Yeah, the puzzle
Yeah.
death box.
Oh, Q, yeah, himself. He doesn't go to like, because there's like an area where the Q branch is set up. They like walk through and like see a bunch of gadgets usually.
Oh, his
They don't.
name isn't Q Branch. It's the
He,
Q Branch.
yeah, he's like the head of the Q branch basically.
Oh,
But
I thought
but
they introduced him as this is Q Branch.
that's funny. No, I think it's like he's he might even be the only one at this point. But it's like here's a representative from Q branch,
Okay.
and they're the ones that kind of outfit him with gadgets and stuff. And this is kind of like the first big one basically.
So we could kind of chew through some of the rest of the stuff.
Yeah,
There's a lot of Bond being taken to places and being followed by Russian agents who are also being followed by Grant, who
yeah.
is a Spectre assassin, and then Grant as the Spectre assassin is killing people and making it look like the English are doing it or the Russians are doing it. He's just like stirring shit up all along the way. Is that right?
Yeah, and he like saves his life at one point. But yeah, he's just kind of like I'm here along for the ride until I can get Bond where I want him. But yeah, it is a lot of meandering around. I feel like, but and his ally in this movie, Karen Bay.
Love them,
Yeah, okay, that's cool. Yeah,
love
he's
them.
great. Really,
I'm kind of
go ahead.
glad he died for the sole reason of for me, if I see a character die after seeing them build up good rapport and esteem with the protagonist. And then, especially in a spy movie, you can never really fully trust their motives. But once they die, especially in kind of a somewhat simplistic movie such as this one, okay, they were legit the whole time. There's
Yeah.
not going to be a turn where suddenly, okay, you can't trust them anymore. So knowing that in Karabay, they introduce him. He basically just says that he was an ex-circus strongman.
Yeah.
And
That's
then
so
that
cool.
never comes up. It's just like, yeah,
No.
I was fucking a strong man in the circus, and then all of my employees are my sons. Just
Yeah.
awesome.
I think it's all like just to endear you to him, and it works. I think it's
It
great.
works. It works.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And his
And they
wife
have some.
is funny too,
That's his wife.
or whoever is there. Maybe it's his mistress. Who knows? But
Yeah,
that lady's
yeah.
great.
At one point, like she's like, "Ke- Ali Karambe, Ali Karambe," trying to beckon him sensually to the bed. And he very reluctantly sets down the work that he's doing in order to have sex with this beautiful woman. Sorry
Yeah.
for him. And
I
then he's
think he
like, "Oh,
says. Do you
yeah,
remember what he
please."
says?
Something about going back to the salt mines.
Yeah.
He's like, "Well, better
Back
have
to the
sex with
cell,
this
man.
gorgeous woman." Yeah,
Great.
which
Yeah.
saves his life.
It's true. I think that kind of stuff is cool, like them bombing them, and I think the underneath in the catacombs with the periscope thing is pretty cool. Um, but
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, and
the
that
very brief moments.
you don't see what the fuck the periscope is coming out of, and so I'm left to imagine that
It's just
Kirin
coming
Bay.
out of the floor.
Yeah, Kiribati underneath the consulate or whatever it was, the Russian consulate, has this periscope that he uses to watch the commanders of the Russian army in this consulate. I think
Yeah,
as they have their secret meetings, and then like, what's it coming out? Is it just like a bowl of fruit, and like the orange lifts up? And
it's
there's
yeah, it's panning
a
around.
yeah, exactly. Wait, what the fuck was that? Or like
Oh man,
a fake statue with eyes. So at one point, James Bond is in his hotel room. It's when he just checks in. He checks it all for bugs, finds one, and he's cool with it. And then uh, he picks up his phone to call the front desk. And the way he does it is so cool. He picks the whole thing up, the phone on
yeah,
the, and then he just drops the base, but still holds the phone, and that dials the front desk. It just looks so cool. It's so easy, so casual, so James
yeah.
Bond. Very cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, Sean Connery. I mean, he's got some good stuff. That's why he's stuck around. He's got the cool.
He
Oh,
does. He's got cool moments that make me dislike it even more when James Bond does stupid things.
agreed. Yeah. I feel like they haven't quite figured it out yet, but
Yeah, that's fair.
maybe
Yeah.
they only 80% figure it out ever, but it works a little bit better in future ones. Which I just went to the Hollywood Theater and watched Goldfinger, which is kind of what I'm thinking about in this situation, but things like working a little bit better. But it's also the one that they have in the theater the most often.
Oh, really?
I've seen it before in the theater, but they had Goldfinger and The Spy Who Loved Me, and it was awesome. It was great. Even Goldfinger is like kind of shortish, I guess. It moves really fast, and that was nice. And then I'd never seen Spy Who Loved Me, and that's in like 70 millimeter ultra wide or whatever. Awesome, so cool.
Wait,
But
is that the one with Peter Sellers?
no, that's 16
'Cause-
Casino Royale, like comedy.
Oh,
This is Roger Moore's third movie, and probably also the most obvious other like second choice next to Goldfinger. I would feel like for
did
like
you
classic
say
Bond movies
you've never seen it, or you never saw it in theater?
in the theater. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I have a goal of seeing all of them in the theater at some point, and I've seen most of Daniel Craig's and then only two of the old ones now.
I
But
really appreciate that you asked, but mm, not knowing which ones it was going to be, because it's essentially said it was random or
yeah, yeah,
surprise.
yep,
I'm really enjoying going forward
that's cool.
in time.
That's kind of what I was like thinking, but I wasn't sure, where you're at with it. But yeah, it would have been nice if it was From Russia with Love. It
Oh,
would have been
yeah,
cool.
that would have been cool.
Um, cool. So yeah, we get Gypsy Camp. There's a fight. It's fine. Um,
Yeah.
it's kind of nonsense. Like the fight itself, if you're watching it carefully, is funny. Everybody's just kind of running around knocking stuff over.
Yeah, James Bond has a knife at one point, and he so casually just cuts a couple of ropes, which makes like a tent fall over or a
Yeah,
wagon move, and he's like saving the gypsies that he's fighting with just very casually.
yeah,
Um,
yep, exactly. So I mean, all that stuff's fine. I think once you get to the train, there's some really good stuff.
and
Um,
the belly dancers in the gypsy camp explain the opening credits. Oh, here they are. Okay, this makes
yeah, yeah,
sense.
exactly. Usually they have something to do with it. Sometimes every once in a while they'll like the whoever's they're designing it, Maurice Binder or whatever, will get to see like a scene from the movie or a little bit and just kind of base all the credits off of that. And then every once in a while off of those, they'll have cut that scene. And it doesn't make any sense.
Okay, perfect. That's exciting.
Great. Yep. But there's some
S-
yeah, we got some good ones coming.
So they're in the gypsy camp. So he goes with Karen Bay to meet. Was it to meet with Vavra, the head of the gypsies? Why were they there?
Oh man, I can't remember. It's something like he he's like, we'll go meet with this guy. He knows about this. But he also was like, I pit them against each other. I'm like starting a war. Like I think he casually just kind of mentions that.
Karen Bay
Like,
did.
yeah, he's like, it's this gypsy group and this other group. I kind of pit them against each other. They're like going to war or something. Some offhanded thing like he was like trying to get them to fight each other a bunch.
And
I think it's one line that they never talk about again.
James Bond saves Vavra, who was having these two gypsy women do physical battle with one another in order to show who was going to be able to marry or be with, yeah, I think marry Vavra's son. And then later during the assault by the Bulgars, James Bond shoots somebody who was trying to kill Vavra, and then Vavra was so elated and pleased by this that he then sends the two battling gypsy women to his tent where Bond is staying with them after the assault, and he's essentially says that he gets to choose. He gets to choose between them to satisfy the feud, and
Uh-huh.
which amounts to him just going
Who
taking
does
a
he choose, Daniel?
he's he takes a one night trip to Bone Town with both of them.
Yep. And that's just James Bond, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man, freaking
And
Gypsy
then
King.
like that whole the gypsy feud fight between those two ladies is like a 5 minute fight for nothing.
Yeah,
It just gets interrupted by the Bulgars attacking. Like, why am I okay? Whatever.
they're showing
It
you
was.
gypsy culture, Daniel.
I do like culture. Okay,
Yeah,
I take back my previous complaint. It was awesome.
it.
Um,
I do think that they think of themselves as a travelogue kind of movie, which they say regularly, and I really do think they're like, "What's in Bulgaria? Gypsies. That's exotic. We'll show them what gypsies are like." Do we know what gypsies are like? We got a good idea.
we know. We
Yeah,
know.
we know. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
This.
Oh
This
man.
is it. These are the gypsies. Um, oh yeah, we see his stick ass sniper rifle for the first time.
Yeah, yeah. Are you talking about when Karen Bay is firing it, or when he goes to fire it and Karen Bay's like, "I insist." That part.
Yeah, they're following what's his name? Krilenko? The guy
Sure.
that Hiram Bay saw through his periscope in the Russian consulate, uh, says that he kills for pleasure. Krilenko kills for pleasure, and
Huh.
so after the assault, this Krilenko guy was the one who was leading the Bulgar assault on the
Gotcha.
gypsy
Yeah,
camp, and then they,
I just thought it was like some unrelated dude or something. Always.
well, yeah, it's really unclear. So they follow him, and they're looking at what is that?
It's
The
like Bob Hope movie poster,
Bob,
I think.
yes, and Anita, what's her name?
I can't
And
remember, but yeah.
they're like, she has such a nice mouth. Watch the
God.
mouth, and then and then thank God it's a kind of a medium shot of the poster of this, or a mural of an advertisement for like a movie starring Bob Hope and Anita something or other, and it's just like this medium shot of
Ekberg.
thank you, Ekberg, her painted mouth, and then
Uh-huh.
suddenly a light comes on and it's a window, and then this Krylenko
Oh,
guy
man.
tries to climb out, and um, Bond has put together his sick collapsible sniper rifle, and uh, Kieran Bay says, "Hey, let me take. I know I only have one good arm because I got shot in the other one, but let me take this shot." He's like, "Well, you only have one." So he ends up sniping that dude,
Which is
and
cool.
then, which is cool. It was cool. It was a sweet gun. He's resting it across Bond's shoulder. It's like a cool shared moment that they have that definitely binds them together a bit more closely. And after they shoot the dude as he was climbing down this rope, Bond says
Hmm.
something like, "She should have kept her mouth shut," or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
All right,
Yeah.
all right.
There's an interview with Sean Connery where he talks about, I think Barbara Walters asked him if it's okay to hit women and stuff like that. And he's like, yeah, I think so. If they deserve it or something is his answer. And that part really just makes me think of that every time.
Yeah, I mean, of course, in this specific context, he is talking about an inanimate poster of
Yeah.
Anita Ekberg, but still, it comes
Yeah.
up later. Um, so after that, what happens? Gypsy women wrestle to the death, or wrestle some
I like that moment.
Favre.
It seems so disconnected from everything, which like maybe that's because I didn't know it was that guy. Um,
Oh, okay.
but really the next thing for me is the train.
Oh, you forget when he comes home to Tatiana, and she's all Tatiana in the bed,
Okay. Yeah, that
and
is a good part.
then it like has a close up of her mouth, like
Oh my
licking her
God. Okay, that
teeth
is
and
weird.
lips, and then
It's
Bond's
too
like,
big.
"Ooh, it's too big." It's just like,
Not for me. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. That happens.
God, and then he snuggles with her in the bed, and then the camera cuts to see, you could see them through a one-way mirror in which they're enjoying each other physically on the bed, and then you see these, I assume, like Russian agents or Spectre agents watching them, and with their pervert cameras.
Yep. Yeah, they like tape them for extortion reasons. Yeah, which comes
Yes,
back later. Yep.
yes, in a dumb way.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, are you talking about the very, very end?
I think so.
Where he's got the film reel?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that part.
Okay. We'll talk about it. Maybe you'll explain it a little
Sure.
bit to me. Uh,
Ooh, sure. Um, is this
so
they go on
please.
the boat and stuff like that? Is that this part?
Before that, I have a note here where Bond walks into what I thought was like the Russian consulate.
Was this the robbery?
Yeah, when they steal the Lector.
Yeah, it's
And
awesome. It is like
eh,
the Russian embassy or whatever.
okay, so he walks up to like the desk where a guy is, like the front desk, and there's already a guy talking to the front desk, and James Bond walks up and he's like 6 inches behind the guy who's already talking to the. It's just like, wait your turn. It's like
He's on a
his.
strict timetable.
I guess. Well, clearly he asked if the clock is correct at least twice.
Oh, I like
But
this too, like as an espionage thing where they're like they tell Tatiana it's gonna be the day after and they come a day early. I thought that was
yeah,
pretty good.
that was kind of good, except for what if she was in the blast area?
Yeah, that's true. I think they would
Like,
have just taken their chances, honestly.
I feel like they were just taking her chances that she wasn't going to get blasted to smithereens unless they were so familiar, unless Karen Bay peeked where she was with his thick ass periscope and knew that she wasn't around where they were going to blow up, or they were just like, oh, whatever. What? We'll see.
Yeah. He did kind of take a chance with her life there. Um,
Yeah, and
yeah.
then
Oh, you were setting up his line, which I really like.
oh, yeah,
The
yeah.
asking about the time.
So he asks it the first time, and the Russian guy at the desk says that uh, the Russian clocks are never wrong, and then, or maybe that's the second time, but he goes around the corner, checks his watch, and then comes back and asks about if the time, if the clock is right, and then guy's like, Russian clocks are never, and then the consulate explodes.
Doesn't he say something about Russian clocks being old or something? Like, yeah, they're all very old. Or is he
Oh,
saying that they're never wrong?
maybe the second time he says they're very old. I don't fully remember actually.
Huh. Oh, yeah, I thought it was a joke, but I like that part a lot. And then the building, yeah, explodes, which looks great and is like
Yes.
shocking. He's like right in
Yes.
the middle of all of it, which is cool.
I
Oh,
couldn't
leaving
quite
the back.
see what he was holding when James Bond he pulls his coat back, which he has draped over his arm, to look at
Mm.
his watch, and he's holding something, and I couldn't tell. Maybe it was very purposeful for to be interesting that once the explosion happens, that's when he pulls the gas mask that he had in his hand underneath his jacket and puts that on because of
Oh,
the
yeah.
tear gas, which he then hands to Tatiana when he finds her and says it's just tear gas.
Yeah, not a big deal.
No, not a big deal. Uh,
Yeah,
so
that part is like super memorable for me. That's one of the like main parts that I think of when I think of this movie.
the infiltration of the Russian area to steal Lector.
Yeah, just like that conversation, the thing blowing up, him running in. Oh boy,
That's
there's
pretty James Bond.
probably someone driving around the backyard. Are you picking up David? Dan?
Oh, very little. I
Okay.
heard like little woof and then maybe a little growl, and that's it.
Oh, gotcha. He's so loud. That's good. Scared the crap out of me. Um. So
What?
yeah, what's after that?
My next note, I think I just didn't take any notes for a while. My next note is I love map overlays in movies.
I have a note about that as well.
But
I
they
I have a theory about that.
before we get to that, so
Yeah.
they steal Lector, and then is that when they get on the train?
Can't remember because there's that part on the boat where he's got like his camera and he's taking pictures of her. Is that before?
Oh,
I don't
yes,
remember.
that's before he's recording her. She's talking about what Lector looks like. He
Oh, that's
gives
right. Yep, yep.
then it shows M and Moneypenny and the rest of them listening to it, and then
Right. It's a recording device. That's right. And
he
then
gets it.
he starts to say something about M and M hangs up on him
Yeah,
or
no,
he turns
well,
it off.
he turned it off and then excuses Moneypenny
Yeah.
into the other room because her delicate ears could not take such sin and passion.
Yeah.
So, but she just turns on her intercom and keeps listening.
Yeah, that's right.
And then that's
Uh,
when James Bond gets a note saying, "Okay, the device is real. You are go for the operation." And then I think that's when they steal it.
gotcha. That's funny. Yeah, that's a good part. Is this? I might. It's been a little bit since I watched it. Is this movie the one that has the tiny or the helicopter part where they're dropping bombs on him?
Yeah, that's after the train.
Oh boy. Okay, so the train, which, yeah, this is obviously like one of the bigger parts of the movie as well.
It's very long,
It is. Yeah.
and I like espionage on trains. I like train stuff because you don't have a lot of options. You are
Yeah,
stuck
it's very
on the
tight.
train. It's very tight, and that's exciting.
And it's kind of
Or
got like romantic, exotic, like going across some exotic countryside in the train. It's
totally,
cool.
and
Mhm.
this this is one of the areas in which I felt as though James Bond was not doing a very good job being a spy or protecting himself or even protecting Tatiana because there's so many instances where what the fuck do I know? But still, there are so many instances where he's just like leaving the door unlocked or like not securing his weapons and possessions. He's not making sure that he's checking for, I don't know. It just seems like he's just super laissez-faire about everything. And in my head, that's probably cool James Bond just like being casual, but in my head, I guess I have this character built up as very easy and casual and charming on the outside, but on the inside, his brain is just a machine that knows how to do spy shit and how best, like a wicked and offensive and efficient spy machine. And it doesn't feel like that. It doesn't feel like he's a super spy. Feels like he's just
I
kind of schlub.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. And I'm not sure if it's like they're like, oh, the audience needs to know what's going on. Then we need to telegraph Red Grant super hardcore and needs to get the upper hand, but they didn't really figure out how to do it without making Bond seem like he's, um, not paying attention or whatever.
I think the tension could still exist. The tension doesn't have to come from Bond being well, maybe this is the nature of the plot of this film. But I don't feel as though the tension should have to come from Bond being emotionally distracted by his passionate love affair with
Yeah,
Tatiana. It could come from a combination of that mixed with, like he is completely enamored with this woman, but he's also checking every corner and like fortifying all of their positions. That could be interesting too, because then Grant as a super assassin, him as a super spy, and that coming into play instead of Bond being sloppy, Grant being sloppy, them fumbling their way through it. It loses so much.
yeah. Yeah, maybe like he gets Grant's gun and takes the bullets out or something, regardless of whether he trusts him or not. You know,
Yeah,
something
exactly.
like that.
Like protect yourself, bro,
Yeah,
or
I
act like
do.
you know what's going on.
Right. Agreed. Um, I do like the scene where they have the confrontation and he's like got him at gunpoint in the room.
I liked it somewhat. It was
Yeah,
interesting because the whole time I'm thinking, okay, how are you going to get out of this, Bond? How are you going to get out of this? And then
right.
it just comes down to like this super badass assassin who has been playing it right almost this entire time. He is playing it right. He's actually more interesting to watch as far as like a spy character because of all the moves he's been taking, like hopping off the train, um like he overheard, I believe he overheard a conversation that James Bond had with Karen Bay's son, in which James Bond told him Karen Bay had been killed by this other guy. It wasn't that they killed each other, it was in fact Robert Shaw's character Grant that had killed both of them. And so Grant overhears Bond referring the information that Karen Bay had been killed to Karen Bay's son and says, "You have to contact him, have an agent meet us at this next stop so that for a transfer for something." And so then once they get to that next stop, Grant sneaks off, meets the agent, kills him, and then impersonates the agent, and then meets up with James Bond. He's like, "Hey, I'm the guy. I know." And then he mentions later on that he had killed a different agent in Tokyo just to get the correct code words to know how to interact with James Bond. He's doing some cool ass spy shit, some cool ass assassin shit, and it's just amping up. Like, oh, this face off is going to be fucking sick because this guy is unstoppable. Like this guy's on the mission. But then when he's got James Bond on his knees, got his pointing his gun at him, James Bond's just like, "How about some gold, bro? How about
You
some
like
gold?"
money, don't you?
And then they go, "Oh, yeah,
I do like money.
prove that you have the gold." And so that yeah, and so he pulls it and then falls for some trick because he's like enamored by all the gold. Does the other case have gold? Yeah, they're all standard issue. Let me get that one too. I don't know how he is it the gas that he gets him with, or does he?
Yeah, it's like
You know,
baby powder or something.
yeah, it's like an explosion of tear gas in the guy's face because he
Yeah,
was like he had dollar signs in his eyes over the gold coins, 50 gold Krugerrands or whatever. Um, like who cares? Do your job, get paid. I don't know. It was
Yeah.
just it was so silly. It just took me out of it so much because there's these two dudes at the top of their game, and then they're just automatically this guy drops drops his guard in which he is like an elite assassin working with Spectre. He drops his guard for a little extra cash. Well, I mean, he probably in his head, oh, I'm just going to kill James Bond after he gives me the gold anyway. But why take the chance?
Yeah, why not just kill him and then take it?
Yeah, kill him and then
Oh,
take.
he said
Well,
there's money in there. Won't just leave these bags. I'll take them with me.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and then
Hmm.
you know, figure it out later. I don't know. It was just stupid. It was a stupid move.
Yeah. No, I can see that. I think, yeah, they do really build Red Grant up, and he is cool. You're right. I would like to see Bond in that position where he's just like,
It's
it's just another day at work. I got my stuff figured out. Gotta go do this over here. Gotta go do this over here. Yeah,
Have you
interesting.
seen Enemy at the Gates?
Jude Law,
Jude Law, Ed Harris,
and
Ron Perlman,
yeah, but it's also, oh my God, what's her name?
Rachel
Daniel
Weisz.
Craig's wife. Yeah, Rachel Weisz.
Yeah, she's so good. Essentially, just to recap, so I can get to my point. Essentially, it's about Vasily. Um, shit, I almost said Vasily Kandinsky, but he was an artist. Vasily Zaitsev, I think was his name. He was a sniper for in the Russian army during World War II, and he was a very decorated soldier. It's about him. It's kind of a movie about him becoming such an iconic war hero that it bolstered the morale of Russia, um, and to the point where Germany had to send in their own wicked, amazing sniper to counter snipe him, to have a snipe duel and take Vasily Zaitsev off the map. So to eliminate the hero of the Russian army and like stomp their morale back down. And the last third of the movie is really cool because it's them tirelessly pulling out all their tricks to try and counter snipe each other. And it is just like really exciting, and it slowly builds, and you're wondering like who's going to get whom. You probably know that
Sure.
Ra's going to win just because he's the protagonist. I don't know if it's historically accurate. Not sure. I don't usually do that much research after I watch a movie. I just enjoy movies. Um, and then it's just the reason that Ed Harris loses, Zaitsev, Jude Law wins, is Ed Harris is just like taking a casual stroll. No, he shoots a dummy that Jude Law had set up, and he's just like, "Yep, I beat him. That was easy." And then he's just like strolling, ambling, just casually towards where he had shot the dummy, and then Jude Law was actually hiding someplace else, and um, Ed Harris noticed the glint off of the scope, and or something like that. He has become aware of Jude Law with his sniper rifle trained on him, and he just turns, takes off his helmet in acknowledgement of his failure, and gets his head blown off. And that whole thing, like I used to think it was so cool, but then the more I see it, the more I realize, like, why would this expert sniper who has years upon years of experience fall for such a simple trick? Why
Yeah.
would it? And then just like not protect himself as he approached to ID the kill. Why would he do that? It doesn't make any sense. And I feel that way with this moment too. Maybe I'm putting too
Mm.
much into this. Maybe I should just be appreciating it for the pulpy good time it is, but I want to believe that these are like as valuable assets to their country and organizations as they are presented to us. They are these super commodities, these super spies and super assassins, and they're really interesting to watch for most of the movie, and then they just fumble their shit at the very end, and it becomes like this, granted, pretty badass tussle in this in this train car. But still, I mean, what am I to believe?
Yeah.
Sorry for
What
that
am I to
ramble.
believe? No, that's good. I get it. Like you want your antagonist to be just as you want to be on par with Bond. And
Yes.
sometimes and they build him up a ton, which
Yeah.
in a really effective ways, and he's super cool and yeah, he's awesome. Robert Shaw's great. And then also Bond, sometimes they kind of like don't build him up that much. They're like it's assumed that he's cool. And then you watch him do something dumb and you're like, "Well, he wasn't doing anything cool and he just did something dumb. So is he dumb?" It seems
Yeah.
like he's dumb.
Yes. Yeah. He turns his back to this guy and gets popped immediately popped with a gun to the neck and just gets knocked
Yeah.
out. It was kind of funny when he was just like on the ground and Robert Shaw's got a gun on his face and he's going through all of his pockets. And then as Connery is waking up and his hands start to just like grope around a little bit, he just smacks his hand away. He's like, "No,
Don't.
no."
Hmm. Yeah.
That was my read.
No, I think that's totally valid. I
I
think, I get to that point, or this last viewing, I got to that point. I'm like, okay, at least like something's happening, and we're not just going, walking around and going to here, going to there.
yeah.
Um, and finally, we get to see like something. But yeah, it is. It's not perfect.
No. And it's their second movie. They're still figuring it out. And I have to
Writing is
remind
hard.
myself, writing is hard. These movies are the first of their kind, ostensibly, as far as like popularized spy pulp media in the movies. I assume. I know there's like Fritz Lang has a movie called Spies, and then there's some other movies
It's
of the
certainly the
ilk.
one that like broke the mainstream, like the franchise that did.
Uh, to the best of my knowledge, I have to agree with you. And so they're still figuring it out, and so maybe I'm because movies were so inspired by these movies for so long that they've been able to build them out and fill it with all these things that then bolstered my expectations, which I then am returning and levying them back on the movies that the original. So maybe I'm being too harsh. I should probably step back and be a little bit less critical.
If you want to think about it, I guess. Um, no, I think everything's totally fair. Um, but I don't know. But yeah, it doesn't break it for me. But like I said, this time I wasn't as into it. I feel like, man, I was so excited, not just like to talk about or to start what we're doing and to talk, but just to talk about Dr. No too. Like, like Dr. No himself is so dumb and so much of it's so dumb, but like, I don't care. It's bulletproof to me.
Yeah.
It's like a
I,
vacation in a movie. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And for me this time, yeah, it was just like, okay, I mean, I see what you guys are doing. Beginning really spicy, really cool, like all these really interesting characters, and I like the idea of like a smaller plot and like a MacGuffin heist kind of thing. But um, yeah, and then the end is really cool because they kind of get back into that Spectre stuff. Uh,
yeah.
but yeah, I mean, speaking of levying that, um, or like other movies like taking this and uh, running with it, like this genre. Was there a specific director that this movie made you think of? Because it gave me two. One, I feel like is they're doing it on purpose.
Are you saying that they're a director that would be inspired by this, or a contemporary director
Well, okay,
do
maybe I
this?
phrased it wrong because I feel like honestly the Bond movie is just copying somebody in this movie, which is not uncommon. I think that's sort of like their thing too. Um, maybe it's a weird transition to this, but I think it's
Hit me with
something that's like recognized. Like they definitely jump on trends and like copy a bunch of stuff. And, like whatever's popular, like we're gonna get into the '70s and things are gonna get real interesting. Uh, you've seen Casino Royale. They do the parkour stuff where they're like, hey,
it.
parkour is kind of cool and interesting, and the internet's heating up with it. Let's jump on that.
Yeah.
I think this movie jumps on a specific director's train.
Enzo G. Castellari?
Way more mainstream.
Oh man.
walking around European streets. It's a mystery. Uh,
Uh,
beautiful lady.
Hitchcock?
Yeah, for sure. There's a tiny helicopter flying around. He's dodging it like Vertigo or whatever that movie is.
Oh, North by Northwest.
North by Northwest. Yep.
You know what? That's fair. So, interesting. Wow. So, and you're being serious? Like
I am being serious. Yeah, I think that they
Hitchcock?
were
Yeah.
like, "Hey, we made our Jamaica movie. We kind of had Jamaica on lock. What are we gonna do next? Oh, okay, we got this from Rush with Love. It's like one of Kennedy's favorite books. Uh, how are we gonna do that? Oh, it's like Eastern European mystery. Oh, okay, well, like let's make it kind of like a Hitchcock movie. I feel like it's totally the way they're thinking.
Sure. That's it. That's really interesting when you say it like that. And imagining you have a lot of shots in which you have your principal character kind of in the background walking, and then there's like a tracking shot, and in the foreground you have the character that's stalking the
Yeah,
main character, like going from pillar to pillar to pillar column, sneaking in like the darkened foreground. Yeah, there's a lot of
even like the close up on the lips, like you were talking about, feels kind of
sure.
like that.
Yeah, yeah, man. Okay, that's
I
intriguing.
I have another theory about this movie that has to
Hit
do with another director. I think that this was George Lucas and Steven Spielberg's favorite Bond movie when they started doing the Indiana Jones.
I was gonna say Spielberg.
hmm It's got the
Oh,
map
the with the
overlay
map?
stuff. Yep,
Oh,
yep. It's
yeah,
got
and the
like the
rats?
train. Yeah, it exactly,
And that's why
exactly.
they
The rat
brought
thing
in
is the biggest thing
Connery?
to me. Yep. What?
Oh, that's why they brought in Connery at the for
Oh,
the 3rd
Connery. I thought you
movie?
said pottery.
That's why they brought in
Um,
pottery?
in Last Crusade when he breaks the vase.
Yeah, yeah, that's precisely what I was talking about. Thank you
Yeah,
for catching that.
and it's like a MacGuffin
Ah,
heist movie, which is totally all the Indiana Jones movies. It's got the romance in it. Feels totally Indiana Jones.
if I start thinking about some of these movies more Indiana Jonesy than James Bondy, that feels better for me because Indiana Jones is extremely likable and relatable because he is a clumsy protagonist who fraps his
Yeah, it's
way
like the
through
opposite,
situations.
you know?
And yeah, yeah. And Bond is meant to be a character that's so sleek and cool and perfect, except well, maybe he's not supposed
Sometimes
to be
he's not.
perfect. Sometimes he's not. But it feels when he is sloppy and craps his way through a situation, it feels contradictory. It feels wrong. It feels accidental and not
Hmm,
endearing to me.
interesting. I think there is that. Like you do want him to be ready for each situation and do really well all the time. But maybe it's just the Daniel Craig era or even Timothy Dalton some where it's like you do see him messing up, but like he's able to figure it out in time before the other
Yeah.
guy, you know? Like I like that a lot
Yes.
too, where it's like, yeah, the situation may not have gone how he wanted it to, but he's also able to adapt to each situation.
That's fun. And
Yeah.
I perhaps I'm being hypocritical because I also love a relatable and human protagonist, but I, I don't know.
Indiana Jones is definitely more like accessible as that, definitely.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, by the time you get to a modern era with Bond, like not the like he's even not like a fun-loving whatever guy like Indiana Jones is.
yeah. The only thing relatable, weirdly enough, the only thing relatable to James Bond is his fallibility, is when he fucks up. Because it shows he's not perfect. The rest of the time, he's just like super suave, world traveling, gets all the girls, has cool clothes, has a cool cars, has cool weapons. And then it's like, okay, now I'm supposed to think that he's a cool human, like relatable character because he swoons over sometimes he swoons over beautiful women and then makes stupid mistakes.
Yeah.
Sorry if I'm trash talking your hero.
No, I had a very similar experience this time.
Okay.
Um, yeah,
Um,
and there's so many of these movies is the thing that it's like part of it, and I've seen them so many times. It's really interesting to take each one as their own. Usually, I'm either at this point, I'm usually just like putting on a random one, and it happens, you know.
yeah.
But in my mind, like a lot of them are combined. Like I have all of the best moments all the worst moments. Like, it's all kind of one big thing at this point. So it's like, it is hard to separate the stuff. And it's like, yeah, he's dumb sometimes, and sometimes he's cool, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes when it doesn't, it's really entertaining. And like sometimes there's a really funny mistake because it's old movies and they don't know what they're doing or whatever. Sometimes there's a really racist cop that is offensive but funny still. But
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, it was great watching this. Do you have any other notes like about this one specifically?
Oh yeah, I still have a couple
Okay.
pages.
Yeah.
When they come to a stop, it was supposed to be Grant's escape route coming to a stop, offloading the Lecter, or maybe hopping in a car with the Lecter after murdering Tatiana and James Bond, but James Bond bested Grant by choking him with his own watch uh, wire, and then they get
Yeah.
off. He takes Tatiana, who had been drugged by Grant during the dinner that they had together before the conflict. Um, he rests her.
Which he
Yeah,
realizes he was a spy because he got the wrong kind of wine with dinner.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Classic.
He rests her in the brush, and then he hops back on the train just so he could get past the car that is waiting up the tracks for Grant. And he hops on, rides past, jumps off, and then the train, I think, passes, and he sneaks around and surprises the dude who's like whistling or waiting for Grant to show up. And he subdues him, ties him up, puts him in the vehicle, and then goes and collects Tatiana, and then that's when they start driving where I think they're supposed to rendezvous with the helicopter.
Okay.
I
That was
just
the flower truck.
yes, and I
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
thought it was cool when you like rode the train and then hopped off. Like that was some cool spy shit, and I
Yeah.
just wanted to bring that up.
I
And then
don't
the
remember that,
helicopter shows up.
but that sounds cool. Um, cool. Yeah, and then the helicopter thing happens, which at this point I'm like, okay, we can just keep going, or we can have this helicopter fight, I guess. That to me feels like they're just like, hey, Hitchcock did this, we have to do something like this.
I thought it
You
looked
know?
cool. I thought it was
Yeah,
exciting. It was visually interesting.
he keeps getting like knocked over or whatever, dodging out of the way.
Did they what did okay? Were they trying to where did Spectre want the Lecter?
That's a good question.
Because if so,
I
why
think
are
they
they
wanted
still
just to start a war, and they were like, let's make it look like the English they're stealing the Lecter. I'm not totally sure.
because if they wanted a Lecter and they're just flying around dropping grenades on them, especially
Yeah, that's true.
once they've fucked up the truck enough that James Bond either got out on foot because the truck was fucked up or was leaving the truck so that Tatiana wouldn't be injured. Um, and then they're just continuing to drop bombs on him while he's holding the Lecter. Like,
Yeah,
do you not
yeah, I don't
do
know.
you not want this thing or I don't know. Okay. And
Maybe it
so
could
then
withstand grenades or something.
he hides under a rock, puts together his sniper rifle, and shoots a guy as he pulled the pin on a grenade, and it drops in into the
Yeah,
atmosphere and explodes, and it looks great.
yeah, it
It
does.
looks so good.
That is true.
I don't
One of
remember
the
what he says.
oh, does he have a little wisecrack after that?
Yeah, when they're running away with Tatiana, he's like, "Oh, the Russians lost another
Shouldn't have dropped a
helicopter."
grenade.
So yeah, nice. I
Yeah,
don't know. He says something that is barely interesting. It's like they
yeah.
lost another plane or something. I don't know.
Two will get you 10.
And
Yeah.
then they go into the hotel room, and they had escaped. Oh wait, oh no, then there's the boat chase.
Oh my God, that's right. That's like the big finale too, which
Yeah,
is interesting.
it's cool looking. Like
Yeah,
the
the
rifle grenades
explosions
that these guys are
for
shooting
sure.
look sick,
Yeah. Oh,
and
getting
there's
the yeah off the rifles.
yeah,
That is pretty sweet. That
it
feels real.
looks so good. Yeah,
Yeah.
and so there are three Spectre boats chasing Tatiana, James Bond, and it would have been the driver of the flower truck that was waiting for Grant that they brought with him, but he asked him if he could swim. The guy acknowledges it, I think, and then Bond just kicks him out into the river. And Spectre fills the several barrels of fuel that are strapped to the back of James Bond and Tatiana's escape boat, fill them with bullets, and so he releases them into the river, and I think ends up shooting them with a flare gun, and then that causes a
Yeah,
gigantic explosion which destroys the boats that are chasing them. And you hear like one of the commanders yelling, "Get rid of the ammo! Get rid of the ammo!" And then they all explode in this
oh my god.
spectacular. So that was looked awesome. That
Yeah,
looked
it's great.
great.
It's obviously like a crap load of gasoline or whatever they were using, and
Yeah,
like
it was just
definitely for real.
it was cool. It was a fun
Yeah,
chase. It was cool. It didn't. I mean, it felt sort of tacked on, but who cares? It's this is what I'm here for.
sure, yeah. Yeah, I mean, the first Doctor No doesn't have a lot of action.
No.
They definitely like upped it by a lot for from Rush with Love.
Yeah,
It's
it was exciting.
it's
It was
still in
cool.
that like primordial phase of like action, but yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, one of the big things I really appreciate about the Bond franchise and stuff that stuck out to me, like going through, especially the first time, was all of their stunt work and all the practical stuff that they do. They become like known for it essentially, and it becomes kind of weird later on when they start doing CGI stuff because they held out for so long too. Um, and they still do their big like prerequisite Mission Impossible stunts, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean that boat chase, you can definitely tell that they're blowing that stuff up. And I think that they not blew out like all the windows on the city that they were filming next to.
Oh no way!
Yeah.
Just because of the force of the explosions.
Yep.
Those dicks.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of what's intriguing to me about this franchise as well is the Eon Productions and that studio making these movies, and they're just some independent freaking studio. Like they've got a bunch of backing because they think they had United Artists or MGM, somebody behind them, but they're just out there doing it. I This is on topic but off topic. I started reading Roger Moore's diary from Live and Let Die, which
Uh-huh.
he took a diary, I guess, for the whole movie, and it starts with him experimenting with the speedboats on the bayou, and he crashes one really hard and like cracks his teeth and like breaks a leg or something, like on one of
Yeah,
the first days of just trying stuff. And it's just kind of wild, like seat of your pants movie making.
that's exciting,
Yeah,
and it shows. And there is so much craft, very evidently, in these films. The craft of filmmaking is quite evident. I just think that you use the word primordial, and that's a really really good word. You could tell that screenwriting, uh, adapting the novels to the screen, that is still primordial. They're still trying to figure out the best way to make these plots make sense on screen
yeah.
within 2 hours.
I mean, a
And
lot
I
of it, like the action sequences, all that's primordial, like pacing, yeah, all that stuff. Like
Yeah,
we're just
yeah,
getting to it.
pacing, the editing, for sure.
Yeah.
Uh, After that, they get away. They're in Italy, Tatiana and James Bond, and
Mm-hmm.
they're in like an Italian hotel room, and it just get the sense that I think he's even on the call, and you get the sense that James Bond is just feels so safe. They're like, yeah, we're good. Yeah, we can
Oh
take
yeah,
our
yeah.
time.
Yep.
And then
It's the end of
plebs,
the movie. We're fine.
yeah, we're fine. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, mission's over. We got the Lector. Got the Lector, got the girl. We're
No loose
completely
ends.
safe. None whatsoever. And he just leaves the Lector just on this table. Maid walks in. He just walks in the other room. He's just told it, whatever. And then phone rings, comes back in, is talking to someone, and then oh, surprise, surprise, the maid is actually number three. It's Kleb. And
Which is
she
great.
Yeah, it's funny. And she grabs the
Yeah.
Lector and a gun, and this finally, there's a little bit of a payoff of, okay, Tatiana being brought into this mission by her superior officer for the country, and hands the lector to Tatiana and ushers her out the door, like, go, you go. And then
Yeah.
she leaves. Kleb is standing in the doorway with a gun trained on Bond, who has his hands up. And then there's just this moment of like decision, I think, or perhaps like prideful arrogance of "You're done. I got you, Bond." But then Tatiana rips back into the room, tackles Kleb, and the gun gets forced into the corner. Somehow, Tatiana is cast aside by Kleb. Kleb stands up, knife blade sticks out of her shoe, and
Awesome.
um, which is cool. And then the fucking Bond picks up a chair and just
Oh yeah.
lion tamer wrangles her into the corner, and she's just like eh, 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 flailing
That's
with her
cool. Yeah.
foot. And I thought this looked ridiculous.
It
And
does.
she's just like bopping him on his powerful chest with her weak little hand, just ah, and then like kicking with her foot. And then I don't remember how he takes care of her. Like he must have
I
just
think
like,
it's pretty brutal. I think he like hits her really hard with the chair or something.
oh shit. So he must like bash her with a chair. Oh,
This
by the way,
older lady.
yeah, this little older lady, second knife shoe in the movie. The first one is not super long ago. Um, Kleb and Kronstein are presented in front of number one, and then number one is angry that the mission didn't go as planned, and a hired goon comes in that number one orders to come in, and Kleb is sweating. Bronstein is trying to maintain his cool, but then the hired goon sticks a secret knife out of his shoe, and then you think Kleb's out of it, but he
Yeah.
kicks Kronstein instead, and Kronstein's like, "Oh no, oh," and dies in like 14 seconds. And then number one's like, "We should figure out how to make that poison go faster." And I thought, what a waste.
That's great.
I was so excited. Yeah, that scene is interesting, but I got so very little from Kronstein. They set him up so well, and then
They do, yeah.
and then he doesn't do anything.
I think he really is there to set up Kleb. They're like, hey, you saw how good this guy is? He's actually fucking up. Like, he's not actually as good as this other lady.
Oh, who's gonna
But
dress up as a maid and just walk into their hotel room
swing
and
her
take
foot around.
yeah. Well, so yeah, after that fight, he decks her, he bashes her with a chair or whatever, and they get away
Uh,
from that. Um, with the Lecter. I just thought, like, why let your guard down again, man? Oh yeah, we're on vacation. It's total vacation mode now. Let's
yep.
bone, baby.
Just me and my girlfriend.
Yeah,
No
exactly.
worries.
And then they're in the boat. It
Hmm.
might have been a gondola, might have been a speedboat. I can't remember. And he pulls up the footage of them doing the sex that the Russian perverts took through
Hmm.
the one-way mirror in their
The Russian
bedroom.
pervert video. Uh-huh.
Yeah, exactly. That Grant was trying to like. That's another thing. When Grant had James Bond on his knees and Grant had the gun on him, it's the classic. Okay, now the villain is going to explain the entire plot, the
Yeah,
entire
he
plan
definitely does.
to James
Yep.
Bond, and then get fooled immediately by the thought of getting some spare change, and then beat to death and strangled. Um, so he brings up that they have this sex recording of a Russian agent and an English agent, and what? That's he's blackmailing James Bond. What? He's gonna embarrass. This is the embarrassment of James Bond. We have this footage of him having sex with this Russian secret agent. Is that what that was?
But you can't be seen with the enemy, Mr. Bond. They won't.
Oh
Your
yeah,
country won't trust you anymore. You'll lose your
yeah,
job.
that's true. Yeah, they would
Even though
definitely
they
fire him.
sent him to go do it, I guess. But
Yeah. So
I,
so
maybe I think that's kind of what it is. We got you.
yeah, busted.
No one will ever understand why you had sex with this woman. They will
Yeah.
only judge you.
Yes, exactly. Look at her. No one will. No one will understand your motives.
Yeah.
So then he like peels it open while basking in this motorboat, and he's looking at it. It's like, oh yes, some hot
Oh
shit.
yeah,
And he wiggles it
I
in her
remember this.
face, and then they go down below frame of camera, and then you just see his hand come back up with the film, and he's just like flopping it around and
He does a
wiggling
little
it,
loop de loop.
and then he hurls it into the water, and then he just has this weird like hand wave. He just waves at it as they're
Uh-huh.
driving away. Like, what is this?
So cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
Uh,
It was
yeah, I mean, I like
silly.
that moment theoretically, like them leaving, and it's romantic, and it's like a little more comfortable than the end of Doctor No, where they're like, "We've just been through all this crap, and we're gonna go back to hanging out in the ocean together because we want to make out."
True,
But
and
yeah, it's a little
it,
silly too. I
I
mean, the music's
prefer
playing, which is cool.
the music is
That
playing.
that gets a lot
It's
of points for me.
it's better than the end of Doctor No, where the implication of like what had happened to Ursula Andress. That was her, right? Ursula Andress.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, what had happened to Ursula Andress was just kind of swept under the rug a little bit. It's less icky.
Yeah.
The end of this one, I guess.
Yeah.
Um,
Just silly. I think that they
it's
were
just
like,
silly.
"Oh, we had such a great time, and now look at he's being a funny little scamp." Don't you love your little scamp, Sean Connery?
I'll take it. I'll take it for that. That's kind of fun. Is now you can let your guard down. You've destroyed the
Yeah.
evidence and you've killed an old lady with a knife shoe. Nobody else can come for you, man. You're safe.
Yeah.
In the credits pop up. It
Uh,
says Ernst Blofeld and then question mark.
yeah.
The hell does that mean?
They're like, "We're not gonna tell you who it was."
Who is Ernst Blofeld? Is that number one?
Blofeld is like his main bad guy. He's the guy with the cat.
Okay. Okay.
And then much later he's what's his name? Christoph Waltz.
Did they ever say his name?
Oh
Or
yeah.
is it just or did they just refer to him as number one in this movie?
Oh, they may not have said his name in this movie. I think they say Spectre though. But yeah, I don't think they may not say Blofeld.
I kind of remember Blofeld from uh, Christoph Waltz from No Time to Die. I kind of
He's
remember
there
that name.
briefly, yeah. There's some really
Okay,
good actors. So Blofeld's played by a couple different people, just like Bond. He comes in
cool.
a lot more, and there's some good ones.
So Blofeld question mark was my last note.
Cool. Yeah, so that's From Russia with Love.
Yeah.
Um, I got a couple questions for you.
Okay, hit me.
Where does this? Did you have more fun with it than Doctor No, or less fun?
That's tough.
Okay. Are they
The
both kind of even?
I think it equals out because this one
Okay.
had higher highs and lower lows, and the moments that I really enjoyed, the things that the setup was so good,
Yeah,
and then
that's really what stuck out to me this time too. So it's awesome, such a good setup, and then yeah,
this
nothing
it
happens
kind
with
of
it.
disappointing. Yeah, exactly. So Doctor No is a lot more visually memorable because of the different, being in Jamaica with the colors, just like you had said, and then the island and is interesting, and then the secret base on the island, and
Yeah,
Doctor No is a weird looking guy, and that's cool.
yeah, yeah.
And then his weird like bubble suit people,
hmm Yeah,
and
there's
then
these
his
distinct like areas that they go to that like really stand out. Yeah, to me too.
I think, and I just watched this movie, and it's even now it's blending in my head. If I
Yeah,
didn't have these notes in front of me, I don't think I would have remembered most of what happened in the middle of the movie. I think I would have completely forgot the gypsy fight. I think I would have mostly forgot about Bond and Karen Bay like going back and forth in like the different underground areas and then the different areas. I don't know. Just
yeah. I think it's just pacing.
it's yeah, the pacing is I think it could have been 90 minutes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Would have been an awesome 90 minutes. But I think I don't know. It's a trap they fall into a lot, and I think it's just trying to make blockbusters. Where you're like, hey, we've
Yeah.
got all these ideas, we got all these locations we've got figured out. we got all these like cool things we can do. Let's just do all. We'll kind of make it make sense together. But then
I
you
would,
don't cut anything out, and you get a bunch of meandering stuff that's not. It's cool. Like the helicopter fight's cool. The
yeah.
train stuff's cool. The boat stuff's cool. But it's like, did this need to come at this point in the movie? Like, what are we doing right now? Yeah, agreed.
I think I would want. I think I want to like Doctor No more than I want to like this one, and I
Hmm.
think I would sooner return. I almost just said I'd sooner return to this one just to see the highlights again, but because of your how much you love Doctor No, it makes me want to like it more, and so I would revisit Doctor No before I would revisit this one, I think.
Cute. Um, yeah, I think this one's pretty well regarded. Well, I don't know. Maybe I don't have my pulse or my finger on the pulse, but I think this one's pretty highly in high esteem as like a serious espionage movie in Eastern Europe. I think Doctor No is mostly regarded as like slow and boring and whatever.
Yeah.
But to each his own. Um, do you know anything about Goldfinger?
That might have been the one that I watched
Gotcha.
at the
At the
slumber
sleepover,
party.
the famous
Yes.
slumber party. Was there
Yes.
a big German guy?
I don't know.
Okay. That one I think is like one of the ones that is like out there the most as
It
far
might
as
be
like
gold.
it's on TV and it's on in theaters and stuff.
It might have been the man with the golden gun. We'll see once we get through these next two. I'm pretty sure it wasn't Doctor No. I know it wasn't From Russia with Love. It
Was it
it's either
Connery for sure?
no,
Okay.
but I think so.
Okay. Yeah. We will find out. Do you have how long does it take you to come up with your letterbox score? You said you let your stuff sit for a little bit and then you kind of put something up.
I usually, as soon as I watch a movie, I write it down in my notebook. So
Mhm.
I'm writing it down right now. It's From Russia, and as I'm writing it in, or even as I'm watching it, like once I hit the credits, I usually have a pretty good idea of like what the score will be.
Okay.
I think this one, I'm writing it in my book as a 3 stars, but by the time I'm done with this book, so once I finish the little notebook, that's when I punch all my scores into Letterboxd, and by the time I'm looking at the movie again in my notebook and punching in the score, sometimes that's when things have changed in my mind. Depends
Okay.
on if I've thought about it more, if I haven't thought about it at all. If when I'm putting in the score, I'm thinking, oh, you know what? I want to rewatch this, or I'm thinking, I don't remember anything that happened in this movie. Or worse yet, I totally forgot that I had seen that. I
Oh
totally
man,
forgot I
yeah.
watched that. Um, so right now it's 3, and I think I had
Okay.
Doctor No at between 3 and 3.5.
Those are pretty high. I mean, to me, but we'll
Yeah,
see. We'll see how they compare. And then like you were saying, you forgot a bunch of From Rush with Love already, so there's a potential for it to go down. But
yeah.
3 right now. Yeah, that's hard. Um, 2.5 is middle of the road because it's out of 5. Um, I
Want
don't
me to
know.
pull up
I don't want to be rude to From Rush with Love. I feel like any Bond movie is at least like a 4, But
for you?
yeah, but
That's that's fun.
I don't know. I think I have to go. I mean, it's even less than middle of the road this time, which is what, 2?
For you?
Yeah, maybe it's a
Whoa!
2.5. I'll go
Damn.
2.5. But yeah,
Interesting.
it was fine. It was like, man, it's almost there. And like I do get way more out of Doctor No. And I hadn't seen From Russia with Love for a long time, so I was pretty excited to watch it. And yeah, I don't know, something about it. Maybe it was I just watched those other 2 movies in the theater and were like on a high from that. It was like, well, this isn't quite there for me, or I don't know. But yeah, I'm gonna say probably 2.5. We'll see. As these come out, I think I'm gonna rate stuff on a letterboxed, and then we can kind of put that information out too. If anybody wants
That's
to like check it out, or we can whatever see what other people are watching and into.
are you able is having these conversations with me, me being someone who's like first time to most of these movies, and being like pretty viciously critical about them, I suppose. Is that helping you kind of see it from a non less of a like devoted fan perspective?
Maybe, yeah, maybe I've got like stars in my eyes for all of them still, which whatever. Like I still, Commercial Love is amazing still, but just
Yeah,
this viewing, that's kind of how it felt. You know,
interesting.
I wasn't quite into it.
Yeah.
Um, Whatever. It was a different thing too. Like, hey, I'm gonna put on the movie I feel like watching right now, versus hey, I have to watch this one. I'm gonna put this on, and it like meets you where you're at essentially. So that's kind of where I was at. Yeah, I was excited at first, and then I was like, man, this is very slow, kind of all over the place. And like, it still has its highs. Karen Bay is great, like we said. Red Grant's great. Um, I love everybody. I love Kleb. I love Kronstein. Um, yeah, Tatiana. All that stuff's cool, and there's cool sequences. What'd you think about the song? It's just in there briefly.
The Bond theme?
Yeah, from Rush with Love.
Oh, yeah, it was nice.
Yeah, that's one that like I know now, but for a while I always forget that it's like just not even in there until the very end. But if we're ranking Bond songs, it's better than Three Blind Mice. Honestly, it's in my top half probably of like Bond songs. It's like super listenable, makes me think of the movie, like the parts I like, and it's a good song.
Yeah, it's sweet.
Yeah, cool. We got anything else for from Rush with Love? You say 3.5?
No,
3?
my range for Doctor No was between 3 and 3.5, and the more we've talked about this, I'm I I've put on my page between 2.5 and 3. Uh,
Gotcha.
I thought I thought it was. You asked me last time for Doctor No if I would
Oh,
be
if you
able
would recommend
to.
it to anybody?
Yes, and the
It's
answer.
a hard question because it's like, who are you? I don't know. There's so many people that like a bunch of different stuff.
I have a few people in my head that have been willing that enjoy watching older movies, campy movies, pulpy movies, B movies, fun movies, ridiculous movies, and
Yeah,
then of course on top of that, good movies, solid, true like true cinema or schlock. They have an appropriate range for the movies that they enjoy, and I like that.
okay.
And so to answer that question, I think about if I would recommend this movie almost specifically to them, and I think the answer is still no.
I feel like this one's maybe, well, I don't know, but maybe a tiny bit more easy to recommend because it definitely feels more like a James Bond movie, like what I would
Yeah.
think of if I didn't know. Like, yeah, he's on a spy case in Eastern Europe, and he wears a lot of, or there's a lot of brown.
I'm
But
wait I'm if someone I'm waiting to have seen more so that then I can approach the question as if someone asked me, one of these friends asked me, I want to watch one of the older Bond movies. Which one should I see?
yeah,
Then I'll be able like contextualize, okay, not only their general interest level of, oh, I specifically want to see a Bond movie, one that is older, and also I know what they're kind of into, then I can think, okay, well, this is me speaking from a lack of experience, but I'm hoping maybe there'll be one that's just like either goes way into like commits more one way or the other. Like, oh, this is just way goofy, or this is just way serious and cool. I'm
yeah,
looking for something a little bit more extreme.
yeah. No,
So,
agreed. And yeah, that's kind of what I love about the franchise too, is it does go extreme in both directions.
okay,
And
good.
usually, like the ones that are not as extreme are kind of they're a little bit more boring. Like they don't stand out as much. But it's like just because there's so much of it, it is nice having those ones that kind of fall between the cracks, and then you go back and you're like, oh, I haven't actually seen this one in a long time. I get to have some more Bond, you know. Um, but yeah, but just to maybe intrigue you a little bit, we haven't hit my favorite Sean Connery one yet.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so I'm excited for that.
Yeah, that does intrigue me.
The next one is Goldfinger.
Okay.
I was gonna tell you what year that came out, but I can't remember. Maybe it's the next year. Let's see. For a while, they were on a streak of doing one a year,
Beef.
which is awesome and insane.
Yeah.
It's not important. I'm sure it's here somewhere. But we got Sean Connery and Goldfinger. Are you excited to watch this, or are you wary based on what you've seen?
1964.
64. Yep, the next year.
I have no reason not to be excited.
Okay.
For numerous reasons. One of which is you have said that we have yet to see your favorite Sean Connery. I know this is another Sean Connery because doesn't he do like the first 7 or something?
Um, so he does 5, and then he leaves, and then he comes back and does a 6th, and then he does a 7th with another studio.
Okay.
So we'll cross all those bridges when we get there. But the way that I am structuring this is we do those first Connerys, and
Mhm.
then we take a break, and then we go to the next set, and that'll be someone else for a second, and a Connery, and then 2 Roger Moores. So we're all Connery for this first section.
That's fun.
Yep.
Yeah. I have no reason not to be excited because I don't know
It
what
can
is to
only
come.
go up or down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm working
And
right in the middle right now.
I feel as though it's going to go up. I don't know for sure, but I feel like it's going to go up, and my excitement hasn't wavered. My interest level hasn't wavered. In fact, it's getting more intense because I'm seeing them develop as filmmakers.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, agreed. And we're developing our own skills with this, as whatever you want to call it. So
yeah,
I kind of
true.
like that parallel of like, yeah, they don't have it figured out either, so don't
Yeah.
worry about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I didn't ramble too much this time.
No, I thought we were much more focused this time.
Okay,
Uh,
cool.
but I hope that first one just comes across as like a love fest, because um, Terence Young, the director, like he thought of these early ones, or when he was shaping the franchise, as like champagne movies rather than like beer or wine movies. It's like you're here to just kind of have a good time, get a little bit silly, and um, yeah, just relax and have a good time. And uh, for me, Doctor No fits that. Maybe From Russia with Love's a little bit more of a beer movie or vodka. Um,
Yeah,
but I don't remember where I was going with that, but I'm excited for where we're headed.
same.
It's all
From
fun.
Russia, from Russia with Love left me vaguely disappointed. I
Okay.
think that's my key takeaway. After
Yeah.
an amazing setup, I was left vaguely disappointed.
Yeah. Which I think is completely fair, especially when we're watching them this focused. Like when I was
Yes.
watching it through the first time, I was just like, I just want to see what this franchise has to offer. And like, I just want to see them, get them all under my belt. And I'm going to go through and really kind of comb through.
Well, the
Um,
excitement of more, more, more. I just need more of this
yeah,
outside of any level of critical eye. Like the first time you watch something within a genre or within a subject that you're way into, it you're like blind to its flaws, I think, unless they're very obvious.
sure.
Like that
Yeah.
was
I
me with
mean,
spaghetti
yeah.
westerns.
Yeah. Well, yeah. When you're coming at it without like going, I'm going to talk about this and I'm really going to tear this apart, kind of helps.
Yeah, true, true. And they're good movies.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah. No,
I
I
guess
completely hear where you're coming from. Yeah, exactly. But so yeah, sorry. The point I was going to make was when I watched all these through the first time, From Russia with Love was one of those just disappeared out of my mind. It was like it's so small, like everything that happens in it. So
that's good. That's good to know that, and I still enjoyed it. So
yeah, it still has the good
base
vibes, the good spy
if
vibes.
this base level of enjoyment is still a forgettable movie, then I feel as though there's only good stuff to come. I know there's bad stuff to come too, but I'm excited
Some of
about
the bad stuff is awesome.
that's what I'm here for.
Yeah. If it was good enough for Spielberg and Lucas, which I'm assuming is true, then yeah,
This theory that you've concocted.
it lines up, man. I'm
It
telling you.
does. If I see exactly what you're talking about, the traveling of the train, the overlay of the map is very much like the submarine
Yep.
in Raiders of the Lost Ark, and yeah.
Yes, sir.
Anyway,
Well, yeah,
I think this one was good.
cool. Yeah, love talking about it. This has been fun.
Same. I'll
Yeah, we'll be back with I was gonna say Goldeneye. We'll be back with Goldfinger.
exciting.
Ulrich Goldfinger.
Whoa.
Sweet. Yeah, love to hear from people. That'd be awesome. I also have my YouTube, which is just my name, my other name, my non-Winkelstein name, Andy Morse, on YouTube. Bunch of random stuff on there, fun alien stuff, bunch of drone stuff, videos of birds, and then
Lots of videos of naked butts.
yeah, that's primarily like what I'm after.
Trying to
Just
figure out
naked
what that's
butts.
all about, but I
So
think
check that out.
it's less something to be critical about and more something to just like let wash over you.
Yeah, it's scientific. And then you have tell them about your stuff.
Yeah, I got a Letterboxd. I'm on Daniel
Sure.
_Ebert at Letterboxd. And I got a book out on Amazon. It's Skyven Handmade Tales, Skyven. No, wow, sheesh. Skyven Handmade Stories. It's a sort of a graphic novel that's entirely handmade. It's a story told entirely through gesture and um, expression. I learned the hard way that that type of storytelling is very challenging and perhaps just a touch outside of my skill set. So, for the physical, the print version, which will be through Barnes and Noble because they're the only place that has landscape print books at a at a size that is big enough. So I'm going through Barnes and Noble for that, and their color photos look better.
Sweet.
And I'm adding lettering so that I can get my ideas across, so it's more clear what's happening, and it looks fucking awesome. I've been adding the lettering to the pictures the last few weeks, and it's looks so good, and I'm so stoked on it. I love lettering in like in in frame. It's something that I'm coming to understand about myself, and I'm super stoked on how this looks. Font
That's
work
cool.
in pictures. So yeah, that's hopefully going to be out soon because I that means I can get started on the next book, which I'm also really excited about. Anyway, that's
Cool.
what I got happening.
Sweet. I'm glad you're making progress on it. That's cool.
Thanks. I was stalled out because so much of what I was doing was just the tedious digital work of like putting, photoshopping as a verb. So I'm not using Photoshop, but photoshopping the letters that are entirely hand sculpted and then painted and then photographed and then repainted and photographed and then repainted and photographed. Just like the tedium of that, which is fun at first because I could watch a shitload of movies while I'm doing it, but it
Sure.
becomes a lot. And then the tedium of photoshopping them out so that they can then be dragged into the images of the book, and I can write words with them. It's just it slowed me down a lot. It took me like a year. I just got completely waylaid and didn't want to do it. But now that I'm doing like actually putting them like doing visuals with them and actually putting them into the images, they look so good that it's super exciting, and I'm hopefully going to make a lot of progress.
That's awesome, man. Good to hear.
Thanks.
Yeah. And cheers to this. Cheers to doing another one. And
Absolutely.
man, yeah. I mean, I don't have anything else. If you don't have anything else.
No, that's it. Thank you very
Sweet.
much.
Yeah. See you in Goldfinger.
Okay.
Bye.
Catch you then.
If you have any questions, You can write to us at rekindlingourbonds@gmail.com. That is rekindlingorbonds@gmail.com. And you can write us letters of encouragement, questions you have about the show, about each of us, about the James Bond franchise, movies you're excited about, or trivia, or suggestions for other movies we should watch. Thanks for listening. We hope to only get better and better with each episode. But, yep, thanks for listening.